Okay, everyone, if you're here, this is video three, how to write the conclusion paragraph for your paper. Again, this is the third video in the tutorial on how to outline the serial podcast essay. So if you have not completed videos one and two, you want to make sure you go back and do those first. Otherwise, if you're here, I'm assuming you're here because you are ready to write your conclusion. Now, as always, you want to have your outline open. This outline should be open in the tab on your computer. If you do not have this outline at the moment, please pause the video and open up the outline. But I'm assuming that you all have your outline open. Again, yours is going to look different than mine. Mine is completely blank here. As you can see, none of these boxes are filled in except for this one. And it's not even completely filled in. It's just an example. Because this is a template and this is not a completed outline, yours should be completed, however. You should have your entire introduction done and outlined already, as well as all your body paragraphs should all be completed. Body paragraph one should be completed, body paragraph two should be completed, and body paragraph three should be completed, and all those boxes should be filled in, right? And you should be ready to write your conclusion. That's why you're here for this video. All right, quickly before we get into it, I just want to kind of recap what a conclusion does. Conclusion is obviously the last paragraph of your paper, and it's basically closing out your paper. There are a couple parts to it that you want to consider. One, you want to close out your argument by restating your essay's position, its thesis. Right? Two, you want to make connections to a broader context if you can. That's like connecting it to our society in some way, shape, or form. Or you can close your essay with some strong words or food for thought. What that means is basically your final thoughts on the topic that you were arguing. Remember, don't put yourself in the essay, but some final words. Sometimes people like to use some advice. Sometimes people like to use some words of wisdom. Just what we call food for thought. Just kind of final ideas and final thoughts on the topic that your paper was out to prove and discuss. But the first thing you need to do for the conclusion part of it is you need to close out your argument by restating your position or your thesis. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll all the way back up here to my introduction, and I'm just going to grab my thesis. I'm going to go ahead and copy it, and I'm going to come all the way back down here, and I'm going to give it a paste here. So what I'd like you to do right now, if you haven't, is to go up and grab your thesis statement and repaste it or repost it down here in the conclusion box. So pause the video and do that now. All right. If you're back, then I'm assuming that you have your conclusion or your thesis statement written here at the beginning of your conclusion. Now, and a lot of times you're taught to start off a conclusion with a transitional phrase like in conclusion. That lets you know that you're writing a conclusion paragraph. However, this is a little bit remedial, a little bit kind of seventh grade-ish. Especially if every student does it, it gets kind of annoying when you read a paper and every paper starts off with in conclusion, in conclusion, in conclusion for the conclusion paragraphs. It gets kind of repetitive. You don't actually need any kind of transition statement, but I do believe a transition statement is necessary. So you can go back and look at the list of transitional words or phrases that I provided for you on Google Classroom. You can throw in a simple word like therefore. That's always a very simple transitional phrase. You can go with to summarize. There's many. Nevertheless, or actually, nevertheless wouldn't work. But again, furthermore, again, there's a lot of transitional words or phrases. I'm just going to use therefore for mine. But again, you can go try to find your own, or you don't even really need a transitional word. Maybe you just have a sentence that kind of introduces the conclusion. And then what you want to do is you want to restate your essay's thesis, which we have posted here, but you want to do it in slightly different words. Because again, remember what I told you, you don't want to repeat yourself. You don't want to sound robotic when you write. So this whole part, after listening to the entire season one serial podcast, I don't even need that. That's not even necessary anymore because that's already been established. So I'm just going to delete that whole part. So now it says, therefore, Adnan Syed was rightfully convicted of murder and should not be released from prison because, and then I would have my three main points there. Now, I want to change my language around. So instead of saying that he was rightfully convicted of murder, I could say Anansayed was properly found guilty for the crime of murder. So again, very similar to what I had before, only different language, and should not be released from prison. I could even say should remain in prison. Right. So again, I'm writing the same. I'm still making the same exact statement. I'm just using slightly different language. Right? But keep your points the same. Don't change your point one. Don't change your point two, and don't change your point three. If you wanted to reword them slightly differently, you could. Otherwise, you could just kind of keep them where they're at. And then you want to close out your paper with maybe 3 to 5 sentences where you close your essay with some strong words or final thoughts, or connecting this topic to the world today. There's many ways you can conclude a paragraph. This is more your own creative writing. I can't show you any examples because this basically has to come from you. Now, if you write something and you want me to check it, I'll be more than happy to do so for you. But really, it's just stay on topic. Don't get off topic. Don't write about something completely different. But just close out your essay with some final thoughts, some final ideas, something to leave your reader wondering. There's many different ways to end a paper strong with some nice, strong, persuasive language. And that's it. So again, 3 to 5 sentences, no more, no less. Try, that way you have a nice complete paragraph. And then once you're done with that, your conclusion paragraph is finished, and you're ready to put it all together, which will be shown to you on another video.